2016, the University of Tennessee did a feasibility study to determine the need for processing facilities across the state of Tennessee. And their research showed that there was a deep need for processing facilities in East Tennessee, but the funds just weren't available at that time for that to happen. COVID hit in 2019 and 20, and there was a meat shortage across America, caused basically because large meat processing facilities, mainly in the Midwest, had to shut down or scale back because of COVID sickness. After that, the government made several grants available for expansions of existing facilities and for the development of new facilities. So we felt like that maybe this was the time that we could get on board. So we met, a group of us met in August of 2021, a group of farmers, businessmen, and some extension folks to discuss the possibilities of building a facility here in East Tennessee. During that meeting, we decided to form a cooperative, farmer-owned cooperative. We selected a board of directors, and Appalachian Producers Co-op became a real thing.
2020, when I first started to run, it was in the middle of the throes of COVID. Walking into the grocery stores and seeing the meat shelves empty took my breath away. And I was wondering at the time, is America going to start today? And so my first meetings were actually with farmers because, quite honestly, I'm just no farm girl. And that's the people I wanted to go talk to the most. And so I remember that John A. Teague took me one day down through the county, and we stopped at Todd Hensley's place. And we started talking with Todd. And I said, Todd, what are we going to do about these empty shelves with no meat on them? And he said, well, let me tell you about our problems, how long it takes to get our meat processed, and how long we're waiting, up to 2 years to make this happen. And I just knew then we had to do something. Our next meeting was a breakfast with Dan Eldridge, where he said, well, I've already been looking into that with the UT office, doing a business plan of what it would look like. And then from there, the next meeting had 10 more farmers at it. The next meeting had 15. It just kept growing and growing and growing because the need was so great for this region. And so it reminded me of a story that I often tell. Some of you probably know that my degree is in storytelling. And I know that's kind of scary for you all that you've sent somebody to Nashville with a master's in lying. But the thing is that I remember I've told this story quite often about a boy who had an intellectual disability. And he went to see one day the movie Field of Dreams, where he said, there's a famous line in that movie. What is it? You all know it. If you build it, they'll come. And but he ended up building a church on his own. It was incredible, but it wasn't on his own because people heard what he was doing. And every Saturday, more and more construction workers would go up and help him build. And at the end of it, when they put the steeple on top of the church, he went over to his confidant, his best person in town, the man that owned the general store that had always taken care of him. And he said, boy, I had it wrong. And Mr. Hargrove said, what do you mean you had it wrong? I had it wrong because I said, if we build it, they'll come, but I'm wrong. If they come, they'll build it.
It's hard to believe, and Rebecca touched on this a little bit, that COVID really provided some emphasis and opportunity for this facility to become a reality. Back in 2020, when we were dealing with some food shortages, one of the things that we learned, COVID, whether it was real, fabricated, wherever your position is on that, We know that it was extremely disruptive to supply, in all types of supply, and including food. And so one of the things that we started looking at, as Rebecca said, is, how can we be more self-sufficient in an agricultural community in our food chain? The second thing that helped to make this a reality was the federal government decided that they needed to put money into communities, and through the American Rescue Plan Act, put money into various communities. Washington County was the recipient of what at the time seemed like a windfall of money, which is unusual for county government. Most of the time, we're working really hard to stretch the available dollars to meet the needs, and it's unusual when somebody just sort of dumps a bunch of money in your lap. But as I began to think about that, it was important to me that we utilize this one-time gift for long-term benefit for the county and citizens of Washington County and the region. We came up with a couple of different things, and then one of the things that was really important to the group and was really important to me is that we support our number one business in the city, in our county, and the number one business in the state, and that's agriculture. And so right away we agreed to devote a certain amount of the money to something in the agriculture community. I'll just say that this group methodically came together, the board came together, Mike talked about that, and methodically, meticulously went through a lot of details. And so, okay, it was 4 years to get here, but sometimes the best products are the ones that are meticulously, accurately done and take some time. So what we see today is the result of a lot of hard work. This board met, and I was privileged to join them periodically when they allowed me in the door, and looked at all sorts of different opportunities, traveled into a lot of different states to look at different ways to produce what you see here. And I think what they've come up with is the best of all of these facilities that are really in the eastern half of the United States. And when you get a chance to go in there, I'm confident that you'll agree.